Okay, so there's a situation brewing, a situation that's brewing, and so I want to start this situation with this article. This is from Fox News. AOC gets called out by progressive journalist for going to the Met Gala but skipping Amazon union rally. It's a complicated situation, but again, I'm not going to read the article. But there's a couple things. Progressive journalist. Now, my opinion, I don't think Krystal Ball is either a progressive or a journalist. This idea that anyone that has a YouTube podcast is a journalist, I think is ridiculous. Let's be honest. Krystal Ball is a commentator. She is not a journalist. She's a commentator. I'm not trying to downplay the role of being a commentator. I'm not trying to downplay the role of being a news person. I think those are very useful things. But journalists and news person, commentator, those are not the same. I wouldn't consider myself a journalist, and yet I've done probably more journalism than most people that do YouTube shows. But I still wouldn't really, I mean, maybe, depending on the context, but I would prefer to call myself a news commentator, not a journalist. But progressive also, I'm skeptical of whether or not Krystal Ball is a progressive, and I'll get into that in a little bit. But anyway, I also want to start this by saying Krystal Ball follows me on Twitter. We've never spoken. I don't know what that's about. She does follow me on Twitter. If she wants to come on the show, I'd love to have Krystal Ball on the show. This would be an interesting conversation. She follows me. Now, she only follows 5,000 people compared to 530K followers. I don't know why she follows me. I don't know when she followed me. She's never spoken to me. I've never spoken to her. So I'm just saying, that's interesting. But also, let's read the tweets. So there was an Amazon labor union drive, and the votes were heavily in favor of yes. I believe it's still in favor of yes. AOC tweets about, that's good news. Okay, this is the beginning of this story. Then Krystal Ball says, here's the guy who organized the union drive talking about how you left them high and dry. These are your constituents, and you couldn't be bothered to show up until they are on the cusp of victory. Okay. Now, could AOC have done more? Yes. Duh. Should AOC have done more? Probably. But there's a few problems with this. One of them is that, again, this labor union drive, to my understanding, is not in her district. But, New York districts are pretty small. Could she have gone to show solidarity? Absolutely. Okay? So, yes, it's a fair critique. But the idea, again, one of my problems with this kind of stuff in AOC attacks is that there's never any nuance. There's never any nuance. AOC has been leading the charge, right, against Amazon. The HQ2 fiasco, she has been leading the charge against that. She was one of the key figures in dismantling that project from happening. She has been exposing Amazon at congressional hearings. And again, could she do more? Yes. Should she do more? Maybe. But to act like she's doing nothing, to act like she's leaving everyone behind and she's like some rich, she's rich and she's stepping on the poors, that's just wrong. It's unnuanced. It's a dumb take. It's stupid. And again, social media produces this. Social media produces people looking for the dunks. Oh, if I dunk AOC, maybe I'll get an article. Maybe I'll boost my profile. That's social media, and most people do this subconsciously. They don't think that, I'm going to produce a short, bad tweet that's lacking nuance or critical reasoning so that I can maybe get some followers. Most people don't think that. It's second nature when you're on social media, right? So again, now, to say that AOC is immune from criticism, I think is a little silly. Could she do more? Yes. Should she do more? Probably. But I don't think this style of critique is not the one that works, in my opinion. But again, so AOC responds, and then Jordan Sheridan pops in, but we'll get, that's a teaser. Coming up soon. The warehouse isn't in my district, and maybe you should look at a map before claiming so. One scheduling conflict aside, we have requested oversight investigations at Amazon, met with Amazon workers in Woodside warehouses, and more. Hope you do more due diligence next time. Now again, Like, the idea that that AOC has abandoned all Amazon workers, it's preposterous, it's ludicrous, it's stupid, just because she did not attend this one specific thing. And should she have? Sure. Yes, I agree. She should have. Why not, right? Like, again, she goes into security concerns later on. I say, I wouldn't mind a fundraising drive. If I'm just saying, could she do more? Should she do more? I think that's obvious. But the idea that, like, again, it's all or nothing. It's black and white. You didn't do this one thing, therefore you're anti-worker, you're pro-Amazon. My God, man. It's embarrassing. It's a low IQ. It's dunderhead. It's Neanderthal bullshit. Right? So, Jordan Sheridan responds. Now, Jordan Sheridan, to be honest, I like Jordan Sheridan's responses more than Krystal Ball's. Krystal Ball, I think, is taking this in the wrong approach. Jordan, I think, has a decent reply here. I was told by workers that your folks told them at the last minute it was a security issue, not a scheduling conflict. Whether your district or not, you would think a New York congressman could have tweeted support congresswoman, congressperson, but okay. Particularly in final weeks for one of the most important union drives in the U.S. Again, now, could she, again, this goes into the could and should she do more? Sure. And I think Jordan Sheridan produces a good point. She says, security was an issue as well. 2021 included a lot of high-level threats on my life, which limited what activities I was able to do, especially those outside. The combination of that, plus when we are able to get resources, time to secure them, creates scheduling plus logistical conflict. So, again, scheduling issue, security issue, basically the same thing. But again, that's a good follow-up. In my opinion, the Jordan and AOC, this back and forth, I think is a positive, productive back and forth. That's my opinion. But Jordan then says, with respect, there's no security concerns with sending out support to Amazon Labor for trying to win the first unionized Amazon to 13 million followers. Your voice and organizing power makes a difference. I agree with that. Should she tweet more about activism? Yes. But again, my thing here is that Jordan is not trying to claim that AOC is, anti-worker or pro-Amazon. Krystal Ball's segment did, right? This tweet was very snarky, very unnuanced, and doo-doo brained. I'm going to be honest, a little doo-doo brain. Jordan, I think, does a much better job at doing this, and I hope the message got across. But then Krystal Ball responds once again with no security concerns at the Met Gala, thinking emoji. Now, this is where it gets ridiculous. This is where it just gets stupid, silly, ridiculous garbage. Like, if you want to criticize that she went to the Met Gala, okay. If your opinion is that she would have had a better impact if she would have protested outside the Met Gala, okay, I'm willing to have that conversation. I respect that opinion, right? Me personally, I don't think it was that big of a deal. I don't think it's like a big deal at all, actually. So, in my opinion, the only reason why you'd reference the Met Gala is because it's like a narrative building event in viewers' minds. They think, oh, the Met Gala was when AOC, so like to them it's like some sort of event, right, that you can call back to, and it makes them feel like they're a part of the narrative, right? That's to me what this is. But also the idea that like the Met Gala is where rich people go, right? Of course there's high level security. There's a difference between going to a union drive, right, where there's no security at all, and all security has to be funded by you. And also you can make the argument that any funding of that security might be better spent in just sending money directly to fundraise for those workers, right? Do you need to physically be there versus maybe can you do something on Zoom and then send the money that you would use for travel security, right? Okay, you can, like, these are all conversations that we could be having, but instead people that claim to be progressives or claim to be leftists are doing this weird, like, this, it's just weird. Why, like, no security concerns at the Met Gala is just this is a dumb tweet. This is like 10 out of 10 on the stupid doo-doo brain scale. Like, I'm trying to think of an analogy, but this is really dumb. This is really dumb. This is a really dumb tweet from Krystal Ball. Now, again, Krystal Ball follows me. I'd love to have Krystal Ball on my show. If you watch this, hello. I respectfully disagree with this tweet because it's dumb. It's doo-doo brain garbage. But I'm willing to have that conversation. But again, I think social media produces this. People are in the mindset when they're on the Twitter app, when they're scrolling, right? Their brain is in a different mindset where they're like thinking about dunks at all times. They're thinking, how can I dunk? How can I get some clicks? How can I get, right? That's just, unfortunately, that's how social media works. And so But again, why would, like, security concern when you're one member of Congress going to places where there's no security at all and you have to pay out of pocket for your entire security apparatus versus, right, the Met Gala attended by the richest people in the world, right, where all of their private militia paramilitary forces as well as the state police forces are protecting them at all costs. It's just dumb. This is doo-doo brain shitfuck. I'm just saying. This is like something a stupid person would say. Now, if Krystal Ball doesn't fancy herself a stupid person, okay. I don't think she's stupid either. Right? This tweet, though, pretty fucking dumb. Right? So, now again, I just want to be very clear. I think the way Jordan went about it in this thread, I think this is the right way. Now, again, a lot of people can disagree with a lot of things Jordan does. That's fine. I think in this particular thread, you can, whatever you say, I don't care, right? In this thread, Jordan does a good job and does the productive, positive critique, right, that says next time around, maybe you should tweet more. And yes, could she have and should she have tweeted more? Sure. I don't think that that's unfair to say. The idea that people would put AOC on a pedestal and say that she is perfect and everything she does is well calculated, like 7-dimensional chess, and she can't be improved at all, I think that's silly. She's young, right? She has a lot to learn, as do we all, especially Krystal Ball, right? So in my opinion, again, Krystal Ball went about this in the worst way possible, right? Jordan Sheridan maybe didn't go about it in the best way possible, but in a good way. And again, it produced this article. Right-wing media is now talking about left-wing infighting, right? AOC got into a Twitter feud with progressive journalist and former MSNBC host Thursday for skipping a labor union rally. Breaking Point's co-host Krystal Ball called out the squad, blah, blah, blah. Here's the guy, blah, blah, blah. Now, again, should people be pushing politicians to the left? Absolutely. Should they be pushing politicians to do things that benefit the left? Absolutely. But again, like this idea that AOC is like a corporate sellout, like rich elite, and she's like in the ivory tower spitting on the pores, that's dumb. It's Fantasyland garbage. I live in the real world. I'm in the real world, right, where I can tell the difference between AOC and, like, Henry Cuellar. I can. And in fact, I think most people that live in the real world can tell the difference between someone like, I don't know, Connor Lamb and AOC, someone like Nancy Pelosi and AOC. Now, can you say AOC is not a revolutionary communist and she's not as left-wing as she should be? Okay. I'm open to that conversation, but the idea that people are just saying she's a corporate shill or a sellout and she's abandoning Amazon workers is just wrong. It's wrong. It is factually wrong. It is unnuanced, and it makes you look silly, and it makes the left look silly. Now, again, personally, do I think Krystal Ball is stupid? I don't think so. I think that her brain has been configured in such a way where, honestly, let's be real, Krystal Ball, wealthy. She doesn't really have a skin in the game. She doesn't really care much. Now, again, her platforming Amazon workers, good. That's good. She should platform Amazon workers. Her having a show with an open and devout fascist, not so good. Right? And so we're allowed to criticize people based on their actions, and we're allowed to have nuanced takes. Do I think Krystal Ball is as bad as her shitfuck co-host, Sal Grangetti? No, I don't. But what I do think I can say with certainty is that Rising and Breaking Points has, for a matter of fact, pulled a certain percentage of people from the left to the right. I think that that is factual. Now, you can say, right, that maybe on the reverse, there are right-wingers that were pulled in by Sal Grangetti and went to the left. Maybe, and you can maybe say, right, that has a net positive effect. Maybe you could say that. But at the same time, I have another tweet here. Hold up. I didn't have this one prepared. I have some counter evidence to this claim that her audience has a net positive being pulled to the left. And so Breaking Points does a lot of polls on their channel. And this was a compilation done by Know Nothing TV on Twitter. Does the Republican Party come off as arrogant and elitist to you? This is the Breaking Points audience. Now, again, it's possible, right? that I'm willing to have the conversation that, yes, lefties being pulled to the right is, sure, it's going to happen, but there's a net positive of righties being pulled to the left, and so I'm willing to have that conversation. This is evidence that does not fit with that narrative. Does the Republican Party come off as arrogant and elitist to you? Yes, 53%. No, 38%. Does the Democratic Party come off as arrogant and elitist to you? Yes, 93%. No, 4%. Now, again, my opinion, both parties come off as arrogant and elitist, but only half of the Breaking Point's audience thinks Republicans are arrogant and elitist. The party that literally only campaigns on Christian fascism and tax breaks for rich people. Right? So, what the fuck? Was Manchin right to tank Biden's Build Back Better legislation? 55% said yes in her audience. Okay? No, 33%. So 55% of the audience supports Joe Manchin? That is not a left-wing audience. Are you worried about the new Omicron COVID variant? Yes, 11%. No, 76%. Now, this was 4 months ago, but this is the Omicron, not the sub-variant BA2. This is the original Omicron surge, one that had 1 million cases a day, 9/11 every day for multiple weeks. Only 11% of the Breaking Point's audience was concerned. Do you trust the coronavirus guidance and public health information from Dr. Fauci? Yes, 10%. No, 81%. Now, again, that one, I'm going to be honest, I would vote no on that one. But again, we're looking at all the polls here in context. How do you feel about AOC generally? 18% support. Now, this is the real one. This is why she feels that she needs to dunk on people like AOC. And I want to put out a respectful invitation to Krystal Ball. If people want to send her messages on my behalf, be nice and say, hey, I think you should go on the Above It All show. You follow Andrea on Twitter, so, you might know that she exists. Have a conversation. This is something, I'm concerned about this. Okay? Oppose, 63%. I don't know what it means to oppose AOC. I don't know what that means, but support 18%. What's your view of the Canadian Trucker Freedom Convoy? Again, a fascist group of people that were not even endorsed by the trucker companies that they claim to represent, the workers and the companies that they claim to represent, like, overwhelmingly, the unions that they claim to represent overwhelmingly voted against them because they were fascist, they were open QAnon supporters. Somehow, 75% of our audience supported them. So again, if you want to say, right, that Breaking Points are rising has had a net positive effect for bringing righties to the left, and sure, we're going to sacrifice some left-wingers that are going to be pulled to the right, I'm willing to have that argument, but I would need to see some supporting evidence. I've got supporting evidence that the opposite is true. So again, I just want to say shout-outs to Jordan Sheridan. I think he went about this in a good way. Yes, could AOC do more? Absolutely. I think everyone could always do more, and I think we need to have productive, well-reasoned, positive conversations around how we can do more. Krystal Ball, in this instance, did the exact opposite of that. And now right-wing media is circulating all this garbage, right? Now right-wing media is talking about AOC is getting owned by the left. The Met Gala. AOC's out of touch, rich liberal. So, that's a problem. So anyway, award for the most nuanced take on the Krystal Ball AOC Met Gala gate goes to me. Yes, I'm queen of nuance. I'm just that good, so